Hello my fellow Christian fiction lovers, welcome to another video. Today I am going to be sharing with you some reasons why I am DNFing Left Behind. So this book right here I unboxed many months ago, and a lot of you guys in the comments were really surprised that I had never ever heard of this series and just never read it before, because apparently it's really popular, but I have never heard of it until I had bought it. And then it just kind of sat on my TBR for a while, and then finally I did pick it up this past week, and I read a little over 100 pages into it and decided that this book is not for me. And I want to share why, because so many of you expressed interest in hearing my thoughts on it eventually. So first and foremost, I gathered that the plot is basically about these two characters. One is a pilot, the other is a like writer for a newspaper, and they're both on the same plane. I mean, the pilot is flying the plane when the rapture happens and all the unsaved people in the world are left behind, and all the Christians are, they like just disappear. In this book, this is how it's interpreted. They just disappear and go to heaven and like leave everything else behind and everyone else behind. So like I understood that that was the point, and then okay, they're, you know, gonna figure out how to live life now with no hope left, I guess. But I have problems with both of the main characters. I'm pretty sure they're the only main characters, but I'm not entirely sure because I didn't read the whole book. But from what I've read so far, like the first scene that we open up on, the first chapter, is the pilot, Rayford Steele, thinking about cheating on his wife. He's like legitimately just thinking about this other woman that he's met and how he's gonna like make a move and try and have a relationship with her, all while kind of scorning his wife in his mind and kind of thinking about how she's too religious and she's become too uptight and no longer for him. And I was really put off by that, because I know that was how his character was supposed to be. Like, we were supposed to see right from the get-go that he is not a good guy and clearly unsaved, but still it just really like put a bad taste in my mouth that was how we were starting the book. It felt like the start to some like sleazy like dollar novel that you don't want to let your kids get their hands on, and I did not like it whatsoever. Now, after the rapture happens, his thoughts do change a lot, and he feels regretful about having, like, wanting this other relationship. But for me, that just doesn't cut it. You can't undo the fact that you sinned against your wife, like, in your mind, and it doesn't matter that he didn't follow through with it. He wanted to, and that was too much for me, and I really didn't like it. And then the other character, I forget his name, Cameron Williams, except they call him Buck. That's his nickname. Anyway, Buck, he's a journalist for, I forget the paper, but anyway, he's like basically this hotshot in the company, and I could just read the pride like dripping off of him. And clearly I get it, like these two characters are left behind, like they're unsaved, they're not going to have these great elements to them, but he was just so full of himself. And then in the scenes, like in the chapters from his perspective, there would be these flashbacks to events that had taken place before the rapture, and he would just recount these events, and it was a lot of like political and economic discussion of like what, like imagined obviously, but it just really confused me. And I'm sure if I read the entire book it might make sense, but it just confused me in the minute, and I was like, or in the moment, I was like, why are we reading this stuff about the political and economic state of the world? Like it doesn't matter, you know? Maybe that's just a me thing. And again, I only read the first 100 pages of this book, so you have to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Like, if you've read the entire series, you will understand this all, but clearly I don't. But just because of those kind of major things, like the Buck's scenes not really, I don't understand like how they connect with the story, and then Rayford, his awful thoughts in the beginning. I really didn't like reading it, and it's just not up my alley. It's not my genre of like futuristic events taking place. So I'm going to DNF it and probably get rid of it because I don't think I'll ever maybe give it a second chance. And I just didn't enjoy it, and I don't want to read things that I don't enjoy. And typically, you know, if I'm not enjoying a book, I will stick it out, but I just don't want to stick this one out. And I've kind of, every time I've looked at it and contemplated reading it, I've just felt like, ugh, this is going to be a piece of work. And I feel like if I did keep reading it, it would be a piece of work, and I just don't want to put the work in to accomplish that. And I really, really don't like the two main characters, so that makes it even worse. So I feel really terrible like saying all of those things, but like it's just my opinions on the book, and I do want to share them with you because you guys did ask to hear and you were really curious what I would think of it. But I'm not even going to add it to my Goodreads. I never marked it as I had started reading, because I'll start a book, and then once I know, okay, I'm going to keep reading it, that's when I'll mark that I'm reading it on Goodreads. So this one isn't even gonna count for anything. So yeah, that's kind of it. Let me know your thoughts on Left Behind if you've read it, like if you share some of my thoughts, or maybe why it was a good book for you. I would love to hear some other opinions, because I haven't heard a ton of opinions on this book, but I just know that it's not for me. So that is where we're gonna leave that. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, bye!